Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week of April 14th. You have the Clover, and you also have this wild card. I always forget to take these wild cards out of this deck. So you have the Clover and the Moon. This could represent like some sort of wish coming true or a dream come true in some way. So the Clover is a very lucky card. This is the Gilded Lenormand, by the way, this deck. And Lenormand is meant to be read by like combination or by lines if I were using it in the main reading. So, again, the moon can kind of be like the moon card, can represent like fantasies, things like that. But with the Clover, it definitely could represent like a wish or something you're wishing for is coming in for you, which is great. Also could be a lot of luck coming in for you with the Clover as well. You start with the Knight of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the High Priestess. I kind of feel weird about this here, Virgo. It's kind of like saying to me, don't run away from something that you're like curious about or looking at. The thing with the Knight of Swords is like sometimes I feel he gets to a certain point in the reading, like here's the Two of Cups, and it looks like he's running away towards the past. And now I'm not saying that this is love, because the Two of Cups can be you and your higher self. And then we have the Judgment card, and this is your higher self angel right here on the Judgment card. And so I'm actually going to start with the High Priestess because I feel like this is something that you have to sit with. It's almost like saying, don't run away from something right now. But it could be like an idea or a goal or a plan or something that you're thinking about. The thing about the High Priestess is that there's a theory that her back is to the world. And it's just a theory. It's not like true. Or maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We don't know. And so her back might be to the world. And so she is trying to like shut out the noise of the world so that she can listen, right? So that she can listen to her intuition and so that she can listen to her higher self. And so it seems to me like you're starting off the week. Like I do feel, when I do weekly readings, I don't always say like the first row is the beginning of the week. It could be, but I think the whole entire reading represents the whole entire week. But I feel like this is like the beginning of the week, like the 14th, the 15th, maybe the first couple days, where it's like the reading is asking you to sit with something. It could be, and I kind of feel like it's an idea. It could be something intuitive. We even go up here to the Judgment card from the High Priestess. And I feel this is saying, don't run away from something. The Knight of Swords is being too hasty. He's making a decision too quickly, and he's not like thinking it through. So it seems to me like the first row here is really talking about you thinking something through or not making a decision too fast. Even with the Eight of Swords, this could be something that you're feeling stuck about, but it feels like an accomplishment to me. I mean, we literally, sorry for switching back and forth, but I have to show you what I'm feeling. And, Ace of Swords, Star, the World, like, are you kidding me? That is very positive. So I feel Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction. It is only seeing one way to do things. So the way that I'm reading this is that, you might have an idea this week or something might come up where you're feeling stuck. So, this is very general. I feel this reading could be talking about a million different things. You're all different. But I feel it's saying that whatever you're feeling stuck on, at the beginning of the week, you should sit with it, and don't worry about it too much, but just sit with it and think about it and kind of process your feelings about it. You have the King of Cups, which can represent processing your feelings. I also think, of course, with the Judgment card, tapping into your higher self or like meditating, listening to your intuition, all that might provide you with an answer. And I feel the reading is saying, like, don't run away from whatever this is. So let's see what we get here for you, Virgo, in this first row. Pretty crazy reading. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is like not feeling good enough, and that could be like why you feel like you need to run away from something. Maybe you don't feel good enough, or maybe you feel like you're not strong enough. It just popped into my head as well that this could be work related. Like it could be like you getting a client that you feel like is too big, or you being offered a project that you feel is too big. We go down to the Star, and the Star is like a wish, or can be like wish fulfillment. But I feel like this is saying like, no, you can handle it. And maybe you have to think about it. Maybe you need to take some time to plan it out. Like if you're getting a really big client or something like that, but I think it would be worth it. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Eight of Swords. So basically the universe saying I meant what I said. She has a blindfold on, and blindfolds in the tarot represent needing to trust your intuition. So I definitely feel that it is time for you to trust your intuition, or you need to trust your intuition at least on something. And so I would listen to that, inner voice. I would listen to that inner intuition, because that will probably help you the most here, Virgo, and that's what I would pay attention to. With the High Priestess, you have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords can, of course, be a victory or a success. You have the Ace of Swords twice now. I always make the joke that this is now turning into a Cancer reading whenever this happens to someone, because Cancer always gets these repeating cards in their readings. And so repeating cards is actually pretty good in a reading. It doesn't happen as much as you would think. And actually, it only ever happens to Cancer, and now it's happening to you. But repeating cards are kind of like the universe saying I meant what I said. It's kind of like doubling down on the message. And I also look at it as a good thing, because it kind of is saying that it's like confirmation for your path in a way. It kind of says there's nothing else to talk about. Virgo's already doing what they need to be doing, which is great. The Ace of Swords is your focus, though. So Ace of Swords is a laser-like focus. The Star card is about having a North Star, which also requires laser-like focus. And then we have the World, which is an accomplishment. So I feel if you focus on what you are trying to create or what you're trying to attract this week, and you stay very focused, that you will probably accomplish it a lot faster than if you didn't. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Old Man card. It says inheritance and mail on it. You have the Scarab. It says nourishment and transformation. Yeah, definitely could be a transformation with that Judgment card showing up here as well. I feel that you could be like inheriting some ideas with the Ace of Swords. And also all this higher self stuff like the Two of Cups and the Judgment card. It's like you could be getting some ideas even from the universe, and I think that would be great. The Star card is also a card of nourishment and kind of like self-care, kind of like the Empress in some ways. So I think that, with this and the Star, I would definitely make sure you're taking care of yourself. I'm pretty sure it was you that I said in your April reading that if I were a Virgo, I would really be taking care of myself in the month of April. So make sure to nourish yourself, take care of yourself, all that. You have the Two of Cups, the Nine of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. If you do want love, there definitely could be love coming in for you. Two of Cups can be a perfect match. You have the King of Cups, could be a water sign or any sign really. Could be an Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, or a Leo as well, as far as love is concerned. Or a Capricorn, even with the World card. This person could be at a distance as well with the World card, although I don't really feel that intuitively. Like, if there is distance, it's like maybe it's like an hour, it feels close to me. It doesn't feel very far, if that makes sense. Like, there might be distance, but like maybe you have to meet halfway and you have to drive a half hour to see this person, right? Or something like that. I don't really see it being an issue. So again, normally it's an issue if it's like, you have to get on a plane to see the person, then it's a problem. But, if you can drive to see them, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And that's just what it feels like to me. Two of Cups can be a person who's different than your usual type, and that's definitely popping into my head for you. Kind of the funny thing that's popping into my head is like, people could have something to say about it. It's like people could be like, why are you with this person? But, again, they don't know the person, so don't listen to other people. You have the Nine of Wands. I don't know. I really get this. I don't get Nine of Wands energy on this Nine of Wands for you, Virgo. I just get like, I'm ready for a break. I feel like you are just ready for a break. I feel like you're ready to take a break. I feel like you're ready for a rest and, all that other good stuff. So the Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior. He's been through a lot of battles, and now he's kind of a card of perseverance as well. He's not giving up. But, I feel like if I put myself in your shoes, which is how I read, it's like I feel like this guy, he just needs to like sit for a minute, and maybe that's what you need to do. We go down to the Star, excuse me, and the Star card, she's getting into that pool of water. She's a card of hope, faith, and renewal. So she is renewing herself, and I do think it would be a good week for you to like just renew yourself, especially at the beginning of the week, right? If you're feeling what we described in this first row, then the beginning of the week might just be a good time to say, like, you know what, I'm not going to figure this out like right now, right this second, which is fine. I can just take a quick little break. I can, tap into my higher self, or I can, feel for a better vibe, and I can rest, relax, recover, and then I can get moving the rest of the week, right? And I think that would be good for you. You have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is a victory or a truth coming in for you, so I feel there could be a victory. With the King of Cups here to the Six of Pentacles, if you're looking for love, I feel like this could definitely be communication that's coming in for you. Now, again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I feel a little bit off on this Four of Pentacles, but, it just feels to me like it's like you might start trying to talk to a person here, and I feel like this person might be either slow to communicate or they just don't, communicate a lot right away. So it just is kind of like striking me as a slower person in connections. But again, I think that's a good thing. I think that with modern dating, it's like people think that when they get love bombed, that's like a good thing, right? Like, so what I'm trying to say is like, don't take this the wrong way. If you meet a person and they're not super fast to communicate, or they're maybe they don't open up as quickly, like actually this is probably a good thing, not a bad thing. Because again, maybe what you're used to is people who love bomb. When people just give you everything up front and go nuts, like that's not good either, right? I feel like this person just has like a slower pace, and maybe that's what you should pay attention to, right? It's like sometimes I think people worry and they say like, oh, this person doesn't respond. I'm like, yeah, but do they respond consistently? It's like maybe the person's busy. Maybe they have stuff going on, right? But the problem would be is like if you texted this person, let's say it takes them like 12 hours to respond to a text. But maybe they are consistently responding. It just takes them a little bit to respond. The problem would be if they respond to you and then they don't respond for 2 days, and then they respond to you, and then they wait 3 days and they respond to you. It's like you get what I'm saying. Like this probably not, because I have no clue what I'm saying either. But what I would say here is like this feels much more consistent. It's like it might be slow. They might not be telling you what their grandma's favorite flavor of yogurt is, right? They're not love bombing you with all those details, but they are talking. There's like a big difference here. I rant over. I feel like I went too far on that. With the Two of Cups, here you go. You have the Emperor and the Nine of Pentacles coming up together here. Definitely could be attracting an Emperor, or just, divine counterpart. Nine of Pentacles is the card of independence, and I feel like this is like two people who are both very independent. So, I think two independent people can do very well together. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Chariot. Definitely a victory with the Ace of Swords twice as well. And I feel a lot of you could be having some sort of victory. Definitely a big change. Like a theme that has come up for you for a long time, Virgo, that I'm remembering now is that, I think a lot of you are about to reinvent yourselves again. So let's say like years ago, you were doing something in work or business, and then you switched to something completely different, right? I feel like a lot of Virgos are about to do that again. I'm cheating a little bit because of the astrology, and also I think Pisces, your opposite sign, is going to do the same thing. And so I find that opposite signs usually are doing the same thing, if that makes sense, like all the time. I see it in a lot of the readings as well. So again, I think that a lot of you could be about to make a change again. One thing I will say is that I think a lot of us are making like our final change. If you are changing careers or something else that you're doing, it's kind of like this is it. This is the final change. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Two of Cups. Again, I might as well call you Cancer in this reading here, Virgo. But, definitely could be love coming in for you. And I would say it's going to start with communication, but for sure. Next, for messages from your future self, you have this Closure card and this Reflect card. I think the beginning of the week is going to be an amazing time for reflection, resting, relaxation, as we said. You could be closing something out for sure. You have the Judgment card right here. The Judgment card, these people are standing in these coffins, and they need to get out of the coffin. The coffin represents their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. So I feel for a lot of you, it's like, sure, yeah, you absolutely could be closing something out once and for all and like completely moving on to something new. I don't actually feel like you're moving on to something new. I'm pretty sure I say this to you all the time, Virgo. With the Nine of Pentacles, she has these grapes behind her, and the grapes kind of represent the fact that she has a specific skill. Grapes in the tarot are meant to represent something that is difficult to grow, but she can do it well. Excuse me. And so the whole point is the fact that you probably have a skill that you've had for a very long period of time, and you could just be using that skill in a bigger way with the Judgment card, and you could be closing out like not using the skill or something like that. So it's going to be different for all of you, but I do feel pretty good about this Judgment card. You have the King of Cups. The King of Cups can also represent like deep emotions. So he's sitting in the middle of the ocean, and with all this stuff about like taking a break, taking a pause, and healing, I think exploring your emotions this week could be very good for you. Just like literally asking yourself, how do I feel about this? Anything that you're doing in your life, and really taking a minute to say like, yes, this feels good, or no, it doesn't, and then making choices from there. I think taking those moments would be just really good for you. Probably bring in a lot of clarity to your feelings, and just a lot of clarity for yourself in general. Again, he's sitting in the middle of the ocean, so he has to explore his emotions on a very deep level. The King of Cups could also be a person. So some of you could be attracting a new person in your life with that card as well. You have the Star card. The Star card could be a wish or like a dream come true for some of you. So, sometimes I think the Star card is really about having a North Star, having like a big focus or a big goal, wish, or dream that you really want to accomplish, which, again, you have the Moon and the Clover as your first two cards, which definitely could represent luck in accomplishing a dream, or it could just say that you are accomplishing a dream. So I feel pretty good about that. I kind of feel everything with the Star for you. Like normally I only feel like one message, on a card, right? But I kind of feel like everything for you. Like you need to do the resting, the relaxing, recovering. You need to have the focus of the Star. I also think you have this bird right here, and this bird is the ibis, which is the bird of knowledge and wisdom. And the bird kind of represents getting a bird's eye view. It says like you have a big goal, or you have something you want to accomplish, and looking at that goal from the top down could be very helpful. It'll almost give you like a map of how you're going to accomplish what you're going to accomplish. So again, if you're taking a pause this week, we also have the world, which is kind of like a map, right? So while you're taking this pause and not running away from something, I feel like this is saying that you need to, kind of like look at the top down, if that makes sense. And my phone, and as I was saying that, my phone goes off, right? With the Judgment card, you have the Six of Swords. You're definitely moving on from something, for sure. Six of Swords moving on to calmer shores. And you could be, leaving something in the past, or you could be letting go of something with that Six of Swords. With the King of Cups, you have the Magician. The Magician can, of course, represent attracting something into your life. So, I think I said this earlier, that, or maybe I didn't, but I kind of feel like if you want love, you probably have asked for it. So, again, the Magician can say you're receiving something that you asked for. The Magician is pointing to the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords in the good stuff is showing up in the good stuff. And the Five of Swords in the good stuff represents taking a risk. So if you do want love, there could be like a risk that you're taking or that you need to take on a person to have a person. With the Star card, you have the Two of Swords. Yes, this is why you should not run away from an idea right here. She is thinking that she only has two options to get to her goal, but really she has a third option over here on this island behind her. So again, I think Knight of Swords down to the Chariot, Nine of Wands, Star, Two of Swords. This is basically saying that instead of running away, if you just sit with something for like a couple of days, I feel that you will find an answer that probably makes you successful, Virgo. So do not run away. Next, in the good stuff, you have this card. It says communication is key. You have this card. It says emotions are running high. Yes, we said that with the King of Cups. So this is coming up in the good stuff, though. So again, communication is key. We literally spent 10 hours in this reading talking about the weird communication style this person has. I don't think it's weird. I think it's just normal. And maybe you're not used to normal communication, right? So I think this person probably has very normal communication. And it's not even like they're trying to avoid you or something. I think that's what I was trying to get at with that King of Cups. I think they will be very clear and straight and to the point. So, that's what I would say there. But communication. You have the Six of Pentacles, the Five of Swords, and the World. The Six of Pentacles is like planting seeds in a direction. You always say with the Six of Pentacles, we have to like plant a seed in a direction to work towards something. If it grows, great, keep doing it. If it doesn't, then stop. Also great for love. The Six of Pentacles is like a nice, I call it the tennis match of love, which, just like a nice little back and forth between you and another person. And it just says keep that in balance. Like don't overgive, match energy and all that other BS that people talk about, which is, it's probably BS anyway. But, still, I think it's a good idea in this situation. So, just have the nice, good give and take. You have the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords can represent kind of taking a risk in the good stuff. So I do think it would be a great time for you to take a risk in your connection. So if you're having a connection or you want a connection, you could be taking a risk with the Five of Swords. And again, I think it would pay off. The Five of Swords can also say that you're coming out on top of a situation. I do have a random story popping into my head here, Virgo. Like if you went through something over the past few years, which I think a lot of you did based off your astrology, like something that requires justice, that could be legal justice as well. But it's popping into my head that it's like something could be happening to you this week where you feel like, I don't really feel like you're getting justice per se, but, it kind of feels like that to me, where it's like maybe you're coming out on top, or, maybe you're being proven right about something, for example. And I kind of get that feeling on the Five of Swords. You have the World, which is an accomplishment, so I do feel that there is a big accomplishment. Chariot, Ace of Swords twice, looks amazing. I think this is something that at the beginning of the week, it's like you're doubting something. By the end of the week, you've accomplished it, right? So definitely do not run away from whatever this is. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Pentacles, amazing, long-term security. All Earth signs are pretty much working towards long-term security. I always say it's because of Uranus and Taurus. Even though Uranus is in Taurus and not in Virgo, it doesn't matter. That energy trines your sign. So I think a lot of Earth signs are working towards, building long-term success in whatever it is they work on. And a lot of you could be doing that with this card. With the Five of Swords, you have the Nine of Wands, which you have twice in this reading. So, definitely don't give up on something. But, this would represent winning with the Five of Swords here. So, like I said, it's almost like you're coming out on top of a situation, and it feels good, whatever it is. With the World, you have the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is normally a never-ending nightmare, but showing up in the good stuff, the Nine of Swords would say that you are ending a nightmare, which is a good thing here for you, Virgo. So I think you could be, ending some sort of, never-ending nightmare that's been going on in your life. You have this August card, and you also have this Turkey card. It says someone is behaving stupidly. I think, yes, I think a lot of people are behaving stupidly at this moment and probably will for the next couple of years. So I tell everyone, just don't feed into it. Ignore it and let it go, right? I don't think we should be feeding into any of these, any craziness that's going on around us. If we feed it, it's just going to get worse, right? So, yeah, that's it. You have this money path card. It says a path with money is waiting for you to find it. Yes, definitely. I think that this is something that is using a skill that either maybe you use it kind of in your career or your business. But again, if you have a skill that you developed like years ago and you haven't really been using it, I definitely feel that this could be part of it. You could be using that skill again, or you could be like nurturing that skill again where you're actually like trying it again or whatever. Again, I get this message for you all the time that Virgo, it's like you need to like revisit an old skill and use it in a new way. I think it would be very valuable. You have this Valley. It says deep personal strength and peace that assures success. King of Cups, definitely. He, on the high vibration side of things, when he kind of explores his emotions and he understands his emotions on a deep level, it brings him great peace. So definitely a good card. You have this Egg. It says success assured with good plans and hard work. Yes, definitely. So whatever you're working on, keep going. There's definitely success. You have this Moon. It says changes in your life. Clearly, there's Six of Swords, Judgment. These would be big changes that you could be undergoing. But all in all, very simple. I like the looks of this reading for you, Virgo. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.